Wilson Scott is on the verge of losing access to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP. He is 38, not disabled, doesn't have any kids, doesn't go to school, and doesn't have a job.
Hi guys, you are welcome to our channel. It's a Dixon's View. So today we'll be reacting to this video in which a 38-year-old man actually feels he should be on the EBT program. He's not a disabled and he has no kids, he's not married, he has no form of responsibility at all, but yet he's on the EBT program. So today we'll be talking about this video. Let's have a watch together.
It's been made increasingly more difficult.
The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, is back up and running after the shutdown, but new requirements taking effect next month are changing who can get them and the number of hours they need to work each month to qualify for help. Good evening. I'm Brendan Morano.
And I'm Kelly Finley. The passing of the recent budget bill is implementing new guidelines for those working, those with immigrant status, even veterans. WCIA 3's Tyler Hill is live in our newsroom. Tyler, these changes may catch some off guard. When do they go into effect?
Kelly, it's December 1st. Experts say that's when the clock starts for recipients to submit documentation proving they either work or volunteer at least 80 hours a month. Those participating in certain training or education programs can also qualify for assistance. Illinois Department of Human Services says proof of this and other stipulations will need to be in by February 1st, or people will begin to see their benefits end. I talked to someone who helps people apply for SNAP to better understand all the new details and find out how people should be getting this done. When should people start getting some of that in?
ASAP. Now, start finding your paperwork.
On December 1st, new requirements for SNAP eligibility take effect. The Illinois Department of Human Services says in the past, only adults between 18 and 54 had to work a minimum of 80 hours a month.
Now, 18 to 64-year-olds have to prove that they're working or volunteering or in a program.
IDHS says previously work requirements did not apply to veterans, young adults who grew up in foster care, and people experiencing homelessness. Now they will, with some exceptions.
Because you're a caretaker, because you do have a disability, because you're pregnant, if you don't have anything to submit to them or show them that you meet this exemption, then those benefits are going to be cut off after 3 months.
Okay, so I actually feel they are right, and I actually feel this is actually a good way to implement to reduce the level of fraud in these EBT programs. Because honestly speaking, I don't know why you guys are really upset about trying to reapply for this EBT program. If you are eligible for it, if you know that things are really hard on you, things are tight, the bills are too much, you can't cope, and yes, you actually have a job, but you need help, I'm definitely sure you will be helped, and the government will definitely help you. But you can't just be a grown-up and adult and be a layback and expect food to be put on your table without you doing anything. That doesn't actually make any sense at all. So if this new implementation, this is actually the main reason why people hate on Trump so much. They hate him to the point that because he's actually trying to fix all the errors, all the things that are wrong in the United States, that is actually a reason why people hate him so much. But this implementation, this new implementation process will definitely reduce the level of fraud in these EBT programs. That's my stance actually.
I don't think the requirement for it is just too huge. Either you're running a school program or you are a volunteer. So, but in this case, it will be so bad that one doesn't find himself fitting in any of these criteria to be qualified in it. So I think everybody has to sit up so as to be qualified.
Exactly.
Or,
we need to be responsible adults.
You just get disqualified and withdrawn from this program.
Definitely. I've seen instances where so many people on these EBT programs are living expensive lifestyle. Like they drive expensive cars, they have expensive phones, they have expensive wigs, but they can't afford to put food on their table. How ironic does that sound?
One feels like deja vu with a side of stress. SNAP is finally back after the government shutdown, but the second the lights came on, Congress slid in a whole new round of cuts under that one big beautiful bill. And yes, that name is ridiculous, but let's stay focused. States are rushing to issue the missed payments, like Alabama, which said folks should have seen their benefits hit on November 14th. But here's the other shoe dropping. USDA sent out guidance that pushes a whole lot of people off SNAP immediately. Work requirements just got way tougher. Able-bodied adults under 65, no dependents, you're now having to prove you're working at least 80 hours a month in school or in training. If you can't prove it, you get 3 months of benefits. That's it. Parents with kids under 14 are exempt, but once those kids hit 14, those parents are probably pulled into the work requirement pool too. And then here's the part that's blowing people right now. Groups that were always exempt no longer are. Veterans, people experiencing homelessness, young adults aging out of foster care. They now have to meet the same work rules. The only full exemption still standing is disability. Then we get to the immigration changes. This is where things get cruel real quick. Only citizens, nationals, Cuban and Haitian entrants, and COFA citizens are eligible. Green card holders facing a 5-year waiting period unless they're under 18 or have a military connection. Refugees, asylees, and trafficking survivors are losing benefits entirely. These are some of the most vulnerable groups we see accessing basic nutrition support in healthcare. So cutting them off isn't policy, it's harm. All of this took effect on November 1st. So people are already being dropped. And then from a nursing lens, food insecurity is directly tied to chronic disease progression, medication adherence, ED utilization, and mortality. Congress knows that. They passed it anyway. So that's the update. Brace yourselves because clinics, hospitals, and social workers are about to see the fallout first.
One thing I picked from what she said was the hospital will actually have a fallback. For a lot of people will be sick because they won't be able to feed, they won't be able to take care of themselves. Why do we actually feel we need to keep encouraging these adults from just not doing anything and remain a layback? It's irresponsible for any adult to just fold his or her hand, to not be able to provide for herself, for our loved ones. It doesn't actually make any sense. For you being an adult means you should be able to be responsible. It calls for responsibility. Adulthood is responsibility. That's just the way I say it. As many people are just laybacks these days. They just feel overly entitled to things that are not supposed to be. That is not actually making any sense. And it's not actually a big deal to reapply. Reapplying means bringing out the evidence, bringing out all the facts to prove that you are actually qualified, you are actually eligible for these programs. We all know that all fingers are truly not equal. I get it. And not everyone has the resources to do this, to do that. I get it. Our fingers are not equal, but that does not mean you should not make a conscious effort to be responsible, a conscious effort to go get a job and live a responsible life. We're at a stage where our parents are meant to be dependent on us, not the other way around. It's absurd. It's irritating to the ears to see an adult just being a layback and a waste to a society, to a community, and fully dependent on the government. It doesn't make any sense.
And I think the government has given them a lot of time, even though the people have been so used to the system and they feel it should be a continuous process. And now that the government has given them this time and time frame for everyone to sit up and get themselves, his or herself, engaged to be a beneficiary of the process, they just have to sit up and then do what they have to do.
Continuing coverage now on the aftermath of the federal government shutdown and the new eligibility requirements for food assistance benefits.
Well, if you are what the government calls able-bodied, you could lose access to SNAP. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar telling us what those requirements are and brings us reaction tonight.
Government officials say if you are 18 to 65 years old, you don't have a disability, you don't live with kids under the age of 14, and you don't work at least 20 hours a week, you'll likely lose your SNAP benefits. Some people on SNAP tell me they don't know if they'll have enough money
to afford groceries.
Nelson Scott is on the verge of losing access to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP. He is 38, not disabled, doesn't have any kids, doesn't go to school, and doesn't have a job. Those are just some of the reasons he is no longer eligible for SNAP benefits.
How much did SNAP help you?
It helped me a lot.
Did you just hear what you just said? This young man, he has no disability, he has no child, no form of responsibility. He's just a layback and not doing anything. He's okay with it. It's okay being irresponsible. That is actually the height of irresponsibility for me, because it is absurd to see a grown adult, a grown man, just being a layback and not be ready to do anything for himself, even not for his family, for himself. It's absurd to just be fully dependent on the government. The government today is helping you. That does not mean they will continue to help you forever. You need to have a means to a livelihood. This is the fraud people are talking about. These are the group of people that are causing havoc, that are causing chaos in this EBT program. If these people are reduced, if the people are eliminated from this Foodstamp program, then those that truly requires it, those that truly need it, will have it. That's just my stance on this.
It's quite unfortunate and very, very pathetic at what I'm seeing, at his comments and the rest. It's unfortunate, and the most sad part of it is he's black. As you can see, he's black, and I haven't come across the white folks complaining more like the blacks on this program.
This is not even a black or white thing. If there are also people that are white that are also committing fraud, this is just adults being irresponsible.
Not in his case. At his age, I was thinking I would see somebody on a wheelchair or with crutches, but he's just too good and heavy, looking fine, and he's just
wait, babe, you just said he's just too good, looking good and flawless without any disability.
That's just my
yes, it's dependent on the government. Just look at that.
I think that's why they've been so used to the system, the privilege.
Exactly.
This is not longer. This is not
These
a
are
right.
these are actually the people that take advantage of every loophole they see in the system.
And at the end, they bastardize it.
Thank you, and that is why they hate on Trump so much. Trump administration this, Trump administration that, they hate Trump so much because he has done so many things that so many people were unable to do before him.
He will never be happy with Trump because he's been called out in this case.
Exactly.
So he just have to help himself, get himself engaged and see how he can qualify himself for this privilege.
He can be qualified now. What are you saying on this?
No,
see how he can be qualified.
He has to get himself engaged.
Someone that does not have a responsibility, no wife, no child, no disability.
Get what I'm saying.
Okay.
If he gets a job and he can put in at least 20 hours in a week,
okay,
he's qualified for it.
20 hours in a week, and you prove that you truly need this program. You are in need of support, not because you have a job.
So then he has to do something about it by getting himself engaged and then proving to the system that he is qualified or he really needs this this thing. Without that, it's just going to be
a layback. It's actually a layback at the moment.
Yeah.
It's a layback, unfortunately, and that is what I see right now. Let's continue.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture crackdown is led by President Trump, who signed the One Big Beautiful Bill into law in July. The government shutdown stalled the November 1st deadline for implementation. However, these changes are still coming up.
We help.
Signe Anderson is a senior director of nutrition advocacy with the Tennessee Justice Center.
Because of rules like this, we can see individuals that are going to be forced to skip meals.
She points out senior citizens and children between the age of 15 and 18 will be most impacted. Rick Williams is a conservative political analyst.
A 15 or 16-year-old can take care of themselves at home while you go work. There's no reason you can't be working. There are plenty of jobs out there.
Scott tells me as a convicted...
So I actually feel a 15-year-old can actually still go look for a job. He or she can still go look for a job in a mini store, in a superstore, that is just a way of showing them how to be responsible adults when they grow up. It's showing them the work ethics. And I'm really so happy that this new implementation by the Trump administration is going to work and is going to kick out this level of fraud in these EBT programs.
A lot of them going to, see how to go about it, get themselves engaged, and also convince the system that they really need this program.
Yeah.
Without that, I think the system, the government has already made up its mind and its plans to isolate everybody who has no proof of being in need of this program.
Exactly.
That's just it.
That just is. We would love to know what your stance is about this EBT program, about this fraud, and about this new implementation by the Trump administration. Till then, we will see you in the next one. To this.